First question. Describe a time when you were the resident technical expert. What did you do to make sure everyone understood you? Last semester, I was involved in a group project with three other college students in a course called Financial Decisions for Engineers, in which our objective was to design a portfolio that involves uh, equities and fixed income and other asset classes, etc. In order to construct a portfolio, we have to understand the microeconomics intuition. And the other teammates of mine didn't major in economics and or they know little about the subject. So I was the person who was in charge to explain the intuition to them. So I was the technical expert in that circumstance. What I did first was, first of all, understand their background. They all majored in engineering related major back in undergrad. So understand their knowledge on the subject really uh, will help me to tailor my contents and my explanation approach to them. So the second thing I did was to simplify the economics model, such as the ADAS model. I didn't explain to them. I use real life example. For example, I I showed them how economy and inflation correlated together using real life examples such as car makers. They understand the price, the input price will goes up, so that they will charge a higher price, which cause the whole economy to have a higher inflation. Last but not least, I make sure that they really understood the intuition behind, because I believe memorizing the relationship between economy and inflation and interest rate, etc., is really too much to remember, and you can only truly understand if you understand the intuition behind it. So I make sure that they understood the intuition, the mechanism behind the economic concepts. So those are the three steps that I took to make sure that they understand. Thank you. Okay, let me adjust the angle. Okay. Second question. Tell me about a successful presentation you give and why you think it was a hit. During my last semester in my undergrad year, I gave a graduation thesis presentation, and the topic was the spillover effect of air pollution in China on public health. So this research involves many terminology on chemistry and on the different kind of disease that air pollution can cause. So what I did, I believe it was a successful presentation because, first of all, I really try to understand the audience. They are my colleagues, they are my peer students, so they do know a lot on the economics, but not too much on the chemistry and other terminology. So I try to focus more of my presentation on the things that they do understand, which is our economics. For example, I focus more on causality and the correlation relationship in my research. So what I did second, right after I understand their background, was to also explained to them how severe the air pollution was. I present many data, a lot of numbers, and then I showed them how I collected my data for my research, and then I presented my result, my interpretation on the results, which they all understand. So 80% of my presentation was on the analysis part and also model construction part, rather than chemistry and terminology on disease. So I believe it was a successful presentation. The feedback was that I gave a really clear presentation. So um, thank you. That's the approach I took. Thanks. Third question. What do you like about our business? How would you change what you don't like? I understand that the China Investment Corporation, established in 2007, has become so far the second largest sovereignty wealth fund in the world. By last year, CIC has around $1 trillion US dollars asset under management, which is a huge number, and the objective of the business is to diversify the country foreign exchange assets. What I really like about the business was because the specific department that I'm applying to, which is China CIC Overseas, which is a subsidiary under CIC, really fit into my background. I believe the academic training and the professional experience that I gained before really prepared me well for this position. Um, and how would you change what you're doing? Like so far, I really don't know what I don't. I'm not 100% sure what I don't like because I haven't started my job yet. But if I do observe something that could be more efficient or could be improved or I don't understand, I will definitely bring it up to my supervisor and discuss with him what I what my observations were and to discuss a better way, maybe to improve it, maybe to make it more efficient, or maybe simply I don't understand and she can or he can explain it better to me. So that would be my approach when I encounter such circumstance. Thank you. Number 4, tell me about the problem you were tasked within your role. How did you solve it? So last month in October 2018, we successfully uh, host the U.S.-China Relations Conference at Columbia University, in which my position was the co-president of the event, and I was in charge of inviting panelists to join our discussion to the conference. The problem was at the beginning very tough because first of all, to be able to attend this and to comment, I have to find experts in this relevant field. In business, it's either business leader in the world or or politicians or academia professors. So, but they all have to know the subject matter well in order to comment on it. So, as a student in the beginning, it's really hard because I didn't have this many connections to reach out to. So what I did, the approach I took was to rank the what I call a possibility rank. So number one possibility is that I will have a better chance to invite if it's a direct contact with me. So I can just send a message or email him or her to join a conference. Second is friend of friends. Third is professors that I met in the Columbia University at the Columbia University. And number 4 is basically cold emailing or cold calling. So I basically set up this ranking approach, and then me and our group committee really go out and use this approach as a guidelines to reach out to experts or business leaders in such field. It was a successful event. We eventually invited 23 panelists to join the conference, and over 500 students or professionals attended our event. Um, that was a success, I believe. Thank you. Number 5, I'm not sure you are fit for the role. How do you know you will be able to fulfill the requirement of the role? I understand that this particular position I'm applying to under CSE Overseas is very demanding in terms of the academic and professional backgrounds and knowledge, skill sets, etc. I think I'm a great fit for the position for the following reason. First of all, from an academic perspective, I majored in economics in my undergrad, in which I understand how the financial market works. And in my master degree right now, I'm pursuing operations research in particular financial engineering at Columbia University, in which I understand more on derivatives and also how to optimize the portfolio um, and subjects of such. From a professional backgrounds, I've interned in investment bank. I've also worked in private equity back in China. So this really give me a foundation on how to evaluate firms in TMT sectors and also what might be different techniques you use when you face firms in different stage of their life. And for the past summer, I also interned in a private equity in NYC, in which I really gain more insights on how the industry works, and especially I think this might be a really relevant experience to the position I'm applying to. From a culture perspective, I've spent more over 7 years, almost 8 years in North America, Canada, United States. So I do believe I understand uh, the North American culture pretty well, and I might have a slight edge over others for this particular position because I understand the culture. I'm a I'm really open minded. Talk to people from different countries. Um, and last but not least, I'm a team player. I worked in. I mean, I would not work in. I really love playing basketball with my teammates, and I enjoy working as a team on sports or projects or anything. I believe I'm a team. Sorry, I believe I'm a team player, and that'll be all. Thank you so much.